Peru establishes 2.7 million acre rainforest reserve for isolated indigenous peoples.
Here's a summary of the article.
After nearly 20 years of discussion, the Peruvian government has moved to establish a new indigenous reserve for uncontacted peoples deep in the Amazon rainforest. Under its PIACI law, Peru has defined 10 territories for isolated peoples, of which 4, including Uvari Tapish, have been categorized as an indigenous reserve by the state. One challenge is protecting indigenous peoples in Uvari Tapish from an array of threats, including drug traffickers, and illegal loggers who operate in the area. The history of the creation of Uvari Tapish sheds light on the drawn-out nature of establishing indigenous reserves in Peru. In 2013, Uvari Tapish obtained a favorable rating from the state, but received opposition from oil companies operating in that territory and there was a setback. They had to press hard for the Ministry of Culture to move forward, said Huertas, adding that it was only in 2015 that the necessary studies were carried out to establish the reserve. The ministry said the establishment process is continuing for other proposed and pending reserves for isolated peoples. For efforts to secure the territory of indigenous peoples in isolation in Uvari Tapish, the 2-decade wait is almost over.
This post received a score of 43,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
It's an area for tribes to live with their traditions in peace, but if you visit these places you are a lot of missionaries and traders from other nations there. In Brazil it's this. There's places that the tribes know English but can't talk in Portuguese for this reason.
I'm an atheist. I'm as unhappy about that as everyone. But I don't think there's any real way to stop it. There's that uncontactable tribe in the island of India where a missionary got killed approaching them. The area had recently been removed from a government ban on approaching. People will come out of their places and talk if they want, maybe some never will. And that's okay too.
I don't believe the Indian government ever rescinded the ban on approaching the Sentinel Islands, just saying. They explicitly ruled out any attempts to retrieve the body because of said ban. Yes, that guy approached the island illegally, got killed, and they refused to retrieve the body because of the Sentinelese. I think that was all the right move.
Definitely, that idiot could have wiped out that entire island if he brought a disease with him.
Hardcore quarantine.
Thanks, robot. This part seems significant too. Hopefully there are many more reserves to come.
I'm not an expert, but compared to American reservations, how much better is this? What about compared to other nations?
I'm not an expert either, but this appears to let the people stay in areas where they have been active for a long time. Due to how much money exporting cocaine can make and its illegality, people will use jungle to make it secretly. And as they are already breaking the law, some of those people will enslave locals too. Given the deal took 20 years to be accepted, there must be many things that the indigenous peoples wanted, but were not offered. 5 years ago they were still maintaining a military presence in areas of Tirona to protect Wiwa and other groups of people living there.
Watch as Green Inferno once.
Oh, Cannibal Holocaust. OMG. That is the worst movie I've ever seen.
My husband always makes those pew-pew noises from the soundtrack lol.
Man, I always try to imagine what it must be like for people who have remained isolated or not in contact with the outside world. Like seeing planes, or satellites. Like, what are their stories of how they explain the world? I'm sure it would be interesting.
You should look into cargo cults. They developed in Pacific Island communities during World War II when American soldiers would just suddenly airdrop onto their islands with a ton of technology and supplies they'd never seen before. You'll probably find the John Frum cult on Vanuatu cool too.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.